I'm going to show you exactly how I write an SOP, a standard operating procedure, step by step. Whether you've never written one before or you're trying to improve the SOP template your business already uses, this guide covers SOP writing for small businesses, what to document first, and something most people overlook, why converting your written SOPs into training videos may be the most effective thing you can do for your team. If you've ever searched for a standard operating procedure example, a business process document, or a work instruction template, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. If your business depends on you knowing how everything is done, you don't have a business. You have a job you can never leave. That might sound blunt, but it's the reality for a lot of small business owners. Everything runs through them. Every question comes to them. Every process lives in their head. And the moment they step away, things slow down, fall apart, or simply don't get done the way they want. Standard operating procedures, commonly called SOPs, are the solution to that problem. An SOP is a written step-by-step document that describes how to complete a specific task or process in your business. It answers 3 questions: what needs to be done, who does it, and how does it get done correctly every single time. SOPs go by different names depending on who you ask. You may have heard of them called process documents, business playbooks, training guides, or work instructions. The format may differ, but the purpose is the same: to capture knowledge that currently lives in someone's head and put it somewhere where everyone can access it. What processes should you document first? You don't have to write SOPs for everything at once. Start with the processes that matter most. Here's how to prioritize. High frequency. What tasks happen every single day? Opening procedures, customer intake, invoicing, scheduling. These are the best places to start because small inconsistencies in daily tasks compound quickly. A well-written SOP for a daily task can save your business every single week. High risk. What processes, if done incorrectly, could create a customer complaint, a safety issue, a compliance problem, or a financial loss? Document these early. These are the SOPs that protect your business. High dependency. Which tasks can only 1 or 2 people in your business complete? Those are your most fragile processes. If the person who knows how to perform that SOP leaves, you have a crisis on your hands. High repetition and training. What do you find yourself explaining over and over to new employees? That's a clear signal the process needs to be written down as a standard operating procedure. Start with 2 SOPs. Build the habit, then expand. What software should you use to write an SOP? Consider keeping your SOPs portable, especially for remote workers, construction personnel, or any team member that works in the field. Your SOPs should be accessible not only by computer, but by cell phone or tablet. I highly recommend starting with the basic tools like Microsoft Word. It's a globally dominant software, easy to share, and can be translated into different languages, which matters more than most business owners realize. And yes, you can absolutely convert your written SOP to video format, which I'll get into in a moment because that's where things get really interesting. Observe and map the process. Before you write anything, walk through the process yourself or observe the person who currently performs it best. Write down every step, including the ones that seem obvious. Those are often the ones that get skipped when someone new takes over. The best SOPs are written by the person who regularly performs the task. Ask yourself, what does the person need to know before they start? What materials or tools are required? What does a successful outcome look like? Everything an employee needs to complete the outlined SOP task should be listed in the document. Tools, materials, software, all of it. How to write an SOP, the step-by-step process. Before we go through the steps, I want to be clear about something. An SOP is not a checklist. A checklist confirms that steps were completed. An SOP tells someone how to complete the task. That's a critical difference. Step 1. Choose the process. Pick one specific task to document. Be narrow. New employee is not an SOP. New hire documentation and orientation is. The more specific the process, the more useful the standard operating procedure will be. Step 2, process purpose. Write 1 or 2 sentences explaining why this process matters. This is where you explain why the SOP is needed and what will be accomplished when it's followed correctly. Step 3, scope. Who does this SOP apply to and why is it used? Define the boundaries clearly so there's no ambiguity about who is responsible. Step 4, process input. What is the starting point? What information, materials, or conditions need to be in place before this SOP begins? Step 5, process boundaries. When does the SOP start and when does it end? Define the start and the finish lines clearly. Step 6, process flow. This is the heart of your SOP. Write each step as a clear, direct action. Use active voice. Say, send the customer confirmation email within 2 hours, other than a confirmation email should be sent. Assume the reader was pulled off the street and has never done this task before. Break complex steps into sub-steps. If step 3 requires 5 separate actions, number them 3A through 3E. The goal is that someone reading the standard operating procedure for the first time can complete the task correctly without asking any questions. Avoid jargon unless you define it. If your industry uses specific terms, include a brief glossary at the end of the SOP. Step 7, process output. What should the outcome look like when the SOP is completed correctly? Define what done means. Step 8, exceptions to normal process flow. Include brief troubleshooting guidelines for common issues. What should someone do if something goes wrong mid-process? These exceptions should also be reflected in your process flow diagram. Step 9, control points to measure. How will you know the SOP is being followed and producing the right results? Define the checkpoints. This is how your standard operating procedures become a quality control system, not just a training tool. Step 10, test it. This is a step most business owners skip, and it's the most important one. Give your written SOP to someone who has never performed that task and ask them to complete it using only the document as a guide. Where they get stuck or confused is exactly where your SOP needs more clarity. Remember, you are testing the document, not the employee. Revise accordingly. Step 11, store it where people can find it. An SOP sitting in a folder no one knows about is no better than no SOP at all. Store your standard operating procedures in a central location accessible to every relevant team member, whether that's a shared drive, an internal company folder, a project management tool, or a physical binder. What matters is that people know where to find them and can get to them easily. Step 12, review and update regularly. Processes change. Technology changes. Your team changes. An SOP that was accurate 18 months ago may not reflect how things are done today. Schedule a review of your standard operating procedures at least once a year and update any document or video immediately when a process changes. An outdated SOP can cause as many problems as having no SOP at all. I forgot to include the final part of the SOP, which is the new hire process flow diagram. My input is at the top. I've got a couple of exceptions in the lower left-hand part. I've got my output at the end. I believe you can do this chart or a similar chart using AI, but this one was done, again, with Microsoft Word. You got 2 actionable items to get started today. Actionable item 1, write your first SOP this week. Don't wait until you have time to document everything. You will never have that kind of time. Instead, pick one process, the one that causes the most confusion or the one you explain most often, and write the SOP for that process this week. Set aside 1 hour. Walk through the process step by step and write down everything you do. Don't edit while you write. Just get it all down first, then clean it up. When you're done, give it to a team member to test. Fix what doesn't work. You now have your first standard operating procedure. That is the entire process. Repeat it. Actionable item number 2. Convert your written SOPs into training videos. Here's something most small business owners don't consider. Written SOPs and SOP training videos are not competing formats. They work together. Your written SOP is the foundation. A short training video built from that document is what actually gets watched and followed. Research consistently shows that people retain information better when they can hear it explained rather than reading it silently on their own. When an employee listens to an SOP being read clearly and professionally, the information lands differently. It's more engaging, easier to follow, and more likely to stick. A narrated SOP video does not replace your written standard operating procedure. It makes it dramatically more effective. Once you have a written SOP, consider converting it into a short instructional video. This doesn't have to be elaborate. The goal is a clear, professionally narrated video that reads your standard operating procedure aloud, so your team can listen to the process rather than having to read through it on their own. If you don't have the time or resources to do that in-house, that's a service I offer directly. You provide the written process and I handle the conversion into a professional training video. The result is a narrated training asset your team can listen to anytime, during onboarding as a refresher, or whenever they need a quick reference, as many times as they need it. The link to contact me is in the video description and the comment section below. The bigger picture. Writing SOPs is one of the highest leverage things a small business owner can do. It's how you take the knowledge that currently lives only in your head and turn it into a business asset that works for you, whether you're in the building or not. A business with documented standard operating procedures is more consistent, easier to grow, simpler to train, and worth more if you ever decide to sell it. It's also a business where the owner can finally step back without everything stopping. That's what good SOPs make possible, and it starts with writing one. If your business depends on you knowing how everything is done, you don't have a business. You have a job you can never leave.